2 years ago, on a quiet Sunday morning, I watched my mother being loaded into the back of an ambulance. She was still wearing her bathrobe. Her coffee was sitting on the kitchen counter exactly where she had left it, untouched and slowly getting cold. That image has never left me. I'm a cardiologist, and I've spent more than 2 decades caring for people with heart disease. I've diagnosed conditions that were missed by others. I've sat with families through some of the hardest conversations of their lives. But the patient I failed to protect was much closer to home. It was my own mother. What makes this story so difficult for me isn't what happened in the ambulance or later at the hospital. It started much earlier, in the comfort of her own home, during a morning that looked completely ordinary. Like many people, she had a routine she followed every day, without giving it a second thought. The habits seemed harmless. In fact, she believed they were helping her stay healthy. But one of those habits nearly cost her her life. After that morning, I couldn't stop asking myself one question: what went wrong? The more I looked into it, the more I realized this wasn't just my mother's story. I began seeing the same pattern in many older adults who experience serious heart problems soon after waking up. That's why I want to share this with you today. This isn't about creating fear. It's about recognizing the small things we often overlook. Because sometimes, the biggest risks aren't dramatic or obvious. They're hidden inside the routines we've repeated for years without ever questioning them. After my mother's emergency, I became determined to understand exactly what had happened. I went back and reviewed hundreds of patient cases involving serious heart events that occurred in the morning. I also spent time studying research on the body's daily biological rhythms and talked with colleagues who specialize in circadian medicine. I wasn't looking for one unusual explanation. I was looking for a pattern, and I found one. The same behaviors kept showing up again and again. They weren't rare. They weren't complicated. In fact, they were things millions of people do every single morning without giving them a second thought. What concerned me most was the timing. These habits happen during the very part of the day when the cardiovascular system is already under its greatest natural strain. On their own, they may seem harmless. But together, they can add unnecessary stress to a heart that's already working harder than most people realize. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 morning habits that stood out the most. But before we get to them, I'd like you to do something simple. Think honestly about your own morning routine. From the moment you open your eyes until the first hour of your day is over, what do you usually do? Not the version you would describe during a doctor's appointment. The real one. Because recognizing your own habits is often the first step toward preventing a problem before it ever happens. Before we talk about the 5 habits, it's important to understand what's happening inside your body every morning. This part matters because it explains why these everyday routines can have a much bigger impact than most people expect. When you wake up, your body doesn't slowly ease into the day. It shifts into action very quickly. Within a short period of time, your stress hormones naturally rise. Your sympathetic nervous system becomes more active. Your heart starts beating faster, and your blood pressure begins to climb even before you've taken your first few steps. At the same time, you've just gone several hours without drinking any water. Your body is naturally a little dehydrated after a full night's sleep. Your blood becomes more concentrated, and your heart has to work a little harder as your circulation adjusts to the new demands of the day. For a younger person with a healthy cardiovascular system, these normal changes are usually well tolerated. The body has enough reserve to adapt without much difficulty. But the situation can be very different for someone over the age of 60, or for anyone living with high blood pressure, narrowed arteries, or underlying heart disease. During this early morning window, the cardiovascular system is already under more strain than at any other time of day. That means even small, routine habits can place additional stress on a heart that may already be working close to its limit. That's why the timing matters just as much as the habit itself. The 5 morning behaviors we're about to discuss may seem perfectly ordinary, but when they happen during this vulnerable period, they can increase risk in ways many people never realize. The first mistake is one I see all the time, especially in older adults who take medication every morning. It seems responsible. It feels like the right thing to do. Your alarm goes off, you reach for your pill organizer, take your blood pressure medicine or heart medication with a small sip of water, and continue with your day. The intention is good. The timing may not always be. Remember what we just talked about. Your body is already going through major changes during the first few minutes after waking up. Your blood pressure is naturally rising. Your heart is working harder. You've also gone the entire night without drinking water, so your body is mildly dehydrated. Now imagine adding medication that is designed to lower blood pressure into that situation. When these medications are taken on an empty stomach while you're dehydrated, they may be absorbed more quickly. Without food or enough fluid in your system, the medication can begin working faster than expected. For some people, that can cause blood pressure to drop more than intended. If that happens, your brain may not receive enough blood for a short period of time. You may suddenly feel lightheaded when you sit up or stand. Your vision may become blurry. Some people feel weak or unsteady. In more serious cases, they may faint. For an older adult, the fall itself can become the real emergency. A loss of balance in the bathroom or on a hard floor can lead to serious injuries such as fractures or head trauma, even if the heart problem itself is not severe. The good news is that the solution is often simple. Before taking your morning medication, drink a full glass of room temperature water. If your doctor says it's appropriate, consider eating a small, light snack first. Even something simple may help slow how quickly the medication is absorbed and give your body a little more support as it adjusts to the morning transition. If you take blood pressure medication every morning, don't change your schedule on your own. Instead, ask your doctor whether adjusting the timing might be appropriate for your specific situation. A small change, made with medical guidance, may make your morning routine both safer and more comfortable. The second mistake is something almost everyone does, yet very few people think of it as a heart health issue. It's straining during your first bowel movement of the morning. At first, that may sound surprising. Most people would never connect using the bathroom with a cardiovascular event. But what happens inside your body during heavy straining deserves attention, especially if you're older or already have heart disease. When you hold your breath and push forcefully, you're performing what's known as the Valsalva maneuver. During those few seconds, pressure inside your chest increases. That pressure temporarily reduces the amount of blood returning to your heart. As a result, your blood pressure and heart function can change very quickly. Then, as soon as you stop straining and begin breathing normally again, blood flow rapidly returns. Your cardiovascular system has to adjust almost immediately. Blood pressure can rise just as quickly as it fell, and your heart rate may also change in a short period of time. For a healthy person, the body can often handle these temporary changes without difficulty, but for someone with narrowed arteries, an aging cardiovascular system, or an underlying heart condition, those sudden shifts may place extra stress on the heart at a time when it's already working harder than usual. This is one reason healthcare providers pay close attention when older adults experience dizziness, fainting, or even cardiac symptoms while using the bathroom. It isn't the bathroom itself that's dangerous. It's the strain placed on the cardiovascular system during that vulnerable morning window. Fortunately, there are simple ways to reduce this risk. Start your morning by drinking enough water so your body is better hydrated. Try not to hold your breath or push forcefully. Breathe slowly and naturally instead. And if constipation has become a regular problem, don't ignore it or assume it's just part of getting older. Talk with your doctor. Treating chronic constipation may reduce the need for excessive straining and make your morning routine safer for your heart. Now let's talk about the third mistake. This one doesn't involve medication or physical activity. It involves stress, especially during the first hour after you wake up. Think about how many mornings begin today. Before you're fully awake, your hand reaches for your phone. You start reading the news. You check your email. A message catches your attention. Maybe it's something from work. Maybe it's bad news from a family member. Sometimes it's a social media post that immediately changes your mood. In other cases, the stress isn't on a screen at all. It may be a difficult conversation, an argument, or a problem waiting for you the moment your day begins. These situations feel normal because they're part of everyday life, but timing matters. Remember what we discussed earlier. Your body is already going through its natural morning transition. Stress hormones are elevated. Your heart is beating faster. Your blood pressure is higher than it was during sleep. Your cardiovascular system is already working harder to prepare you for the day ahead. When emotional stress is added on top of those normal changes, your body responds by releasing even more stress hormones. Your heart works harder. Your blood pressure can rise even further. For someone with healthy arteries, that temporary increase may not cause a problem. But for an older adult or someone living with heart disease, it may place additional strain on a cardiovascular system that's already under pressure. That's why the first hour after waking deserves a little protection. If possible, avoid checking email, news headlines, or social media as soon as you open your eyes. If you know an important or stressful conversation can wait, consider having it later in the morning after your body has had time to settle into the day. Giving yourself that short period of calm doesn't eliminate stress from your life. It simply allows your heart to adjust before asking it to handle one more challenge. If you've found this helpful so far, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. My goal is to help more people recognize small habits that may affect their heart health before they become serious problems. Now, we've covered the first 3 mistakes, but the fourth one was the biggest surprise to me because it looks and feels like a healthy habit. The fourth mistake is one that surprises many people because it feels like a healthy way to start the day. I'm talking about taking a hot shower immediately after getting out of bed. Most of us know that feeling. The warm water relaxes your muscles. It helps you wake up. On a cold morning, it can feel comforting and refreshing. There's nothing unusual about wanting to start your day that way. The concern isn't the shower itself, it's the timing. As we discussed earlier, your cardiovascular system is already adjusting to the transition from sleep to being awake. Your heart is working harder, your blood pressure is changing, and your body is still recovering from several hours without fluids. Hot water causes your blood vessels to widen very quickly. As those vessels relax, blood pressure can drop. For some people, that change is mild and passes without any symptoms. But for older adults or people with underlying heart disease, the drop can be more noticeable. You may suddenly feel lightheaded. Your vision may become dim or blurry. Some people become unsteady on their feet. In more serious situations, they may lose consciousness. If that happens in a wet shower surrounded by hard surfaces, the fall itself can result in a serious injury. Your body then tries to correct the drop in blood pressure by increasing activity within the cardiovascular system. That rapid adjustment places additional demands on the heart during a time when it is already under natural morning stress. Fortunately, reducing the risk doesn't require major changes. If you prefer to shower in the morning, choose warm water instead of very hot water. Give your body a little time to wake up before stepping into the shower. Keep the shower reasonably short, especially during the first hour after getting out of bed. And just as importantly, drink a full glass of water beforehand. That simple habit helps your body begin the day better hydrated and better prepared for the normal changes that come with the morning routine. Now, I'd like to go back to the story I shared at the beginning, because the fifth mistake is the one that changed my family forever. Long before my mother was taken to the hospital, her body had already been trying to warn her. For several months, she noticed small symptoms that almost always appeared in the morning. She would mention a feeling of tightness across her chest after waking up. Sometimes her left arm felt numb or tingling. On other mornings, she became short of breath for a few minutes, or noticed her heart beating differently than usual. None of these symptoms lasted very long. They usually went away on their own. Because of that, she believed they were simply part of getting older. She blamed them on sleeping in the wrong position, feeling tired, or starting the day too quickly. She mentioned these things to me more than once during ordinary family dinners. We would be talking about everyday life, and she would casually bring up how she had been feeling that morning. And each time, I reassured her. I told her it was probably nothing serious. Maybe it was age. Maybe it was stress. Maybe she just needed a little more rest. Looking back, that word probably still stays with me. I wasn't ignoring my mother. I was seeing her as my mom instead of seeing her as a patient. I accepted explanations that I would have questioned if they had come from someone sitting in my office. What I didn't realize at the time was that those seemingly mild symptoms were appearing over and over again during the very part of the day when her heart was under the greatest natural stress. Those quiet warnings were leading us towards something much more serious than either of us understood. Then one Sunday morning, everything changed. The warning signs that had come and gone for months finally led to a major heart attack. My father called 911, and the paramedics arrived as quickly as they could. They worked tirelessly to bring her heart back into a stable rhythm. It was a moment none of us will ever forget. Thankfully, my mother survived. She recovered, and today she's able to enjoy life with our family. But that experience changed both of us in ways I never expected. As a cardiologist, I had spent years teaching patients not to ignore early symptoms. Yet when those same symptoms appeared in someone I loved, I accepted simple explanations instead of asking the harder questions. I assumed they were part of normal aging because they weren't constant or dramatic. That was my mistake. The hardest part to live with isn't what happened that morning. It's knowing that the warning signs had been there for months. They appeared quietly, disappeared quickly, and seemed easy to explain away. Looking back, they were opportunities to recognize a problem before it became an emergency. That experience completely changed the way I think about recurring morning symptoms. If they continue to appear, even if they seem mild, they deserve attention. Sometimes the heart gives us small warnings long before it forces us to face a much bigger one. The biggest lesson I learned is that serious heart problems don't always begin with dramatic symptoms. In many cases, the early warning signs are easy to overlook. They may be mild, come and go, or seem too small to worry about. That's exactly why so many people dismiss them. If you notice recurring chest tightness, shortness of breath, heart palpitations, dizziness, unusual fatigue, or discomfort that regularly appears in the morning, don't assume it's simply part of getting older. Don't keep telling yourself it will go away on its own. Symptoms that repeat over time deserve attention, even if they aren't severe every time they happen. That doesn't automatically mean you're having a heart attack, but it does mean your body may be telling you something important. The safest next step is to discuss those symptoms with your doctor. If needed, they can recommend the right evaluation and determine whether further testing is appropriate. Listening to those early warning signs may give you the opportunity to address a problem before it becomes a true emergency. Now I'd like to share the morning routine my mother has followed ever since her recovery. It's simple. It takes about 5 minutes. More importantly, it gives the body time to adjust gradually instead of rushing from sleep into full activity. The first minute is for breathing. When you wake up, stay in bed for a moment. Don't sit up right away, and don't reach for your phone. Take a slow breath in through your nose, pause briefly, then breathe out even more slowly through your mouth. Repeat that several times. The goal isn't to do anything complicated. It's simply to give your body a calm, gentle start to the day. The second minute is for hydration. Keep a glass of room temperature water by your bed before you go to sleep. Sit up slowly, place both feet on the floor, and drink the water before you stand. After a full night's sleep, this is an easy way to begin replacing the fluids your body has lost overnight. The third minute is for circulation. Stay seated and gently move your ankles in circles. Flex your feet up and down a few times. These simple movements help wake up the muscles in your lower legs and encourage healthy circulation before you begin walking. The fourth minute is for light movement. Slowly roll your shoulders, turn your head from side to side, and stretch your arms comfortably. Lean gently in each direction if it feels comfortable for you. The purpose isn't exercise. It's to help your body transition naturally after several hours of rest. The fifth minute is for standing up. When you're ready, stand slowly instead of rushing to your feet. Pause for a moment and notice how you feel. If you become dizzy or lightheaded, sit back down and give yourself another minute before trying again. Once you feel steady, begin your normal morning routine at a comfortable pace. That's it. 5 quiet minutes. My mother has followed this routine every morning since her heart attack, and it has become the most important part of her day. I believe the greatest value isn't any single step by itself. It's giving your heart and your entire body the time they need to make a smooth transition from rest to activity instead of asking them to do everything at once. Before we finish, I'd like you to think back through the 5 mistakes we discussed today. How many of them sound familiar? Let me know in the comments. Sometimes simply recognizing a habit is the first step toward changing it. If you have a parent, a spouse, a friend, or anyone you care about who is over 60 or living with heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol, Please consider sharing this video with them. A small reminder today may help someone make a healthier choice tomorrow morning. I still think about my mother's cup of coffee sitting untouched on the kitchen counter that day. It stayed there while she was in the emergency room fighting for her life. To most people, it was just a cup of coffee. To me, it's a reminder of how quickly an ordinary morning can change. That's why I never rush through the first few minutes of my day anymore. Your heart has been working for you every minute of your life. Giving it just a few quiet minutes each morning is a simple habit, but over time, it may make a meaningful difference. Thank you for watching, and as always, take good care of your heart.